Welcome back to Resistance at the Threshold. This is session one. Oh, everybody shifted spaces. That's great. Um, Sometimes I love it. Shisho's the only one that didn't move. So great. Um, do, 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 do. Shisho goes there. Thanks for tuning in. Obviously, we are having some technical fun this onset, but yeah, last session was session zero, and if you were here for that, you would have watched as these individuals built a town and built their characters who live in this town. Um, Very interesting session zero. I had a blast. But we've created a town called Gateneath. It sits inside of the um, Ulaman um, region, the barony of Ulaman, in the kind of Levidia area of Jernars, northwestern Jernars. And yeah, the town has been going strong for some time. I guess it's had its ups and downs in its history, to be sure. Um, and it's kind of on an upswing, although a lot of the older people who were in power have recently passed away, in part due to the history that the party has kind of mustered together. Um, but that said, we do have a very strong kind of structure for the town, and I want to kind of go through it in a more nuanced way now that the characters have been fully built. And how I'm going to do that is very simply, um, for reasons, your group, the kind of main structure of the town, has gathered at the keep of Gateneath because a honored guest has arrived in the town. And this is basically standard procedure when receiving this specific guest. The specific guest in question is an individual who is mentioned briefly in the handout. The individual is Estrid Shallows, the courier, the honored courier of Ermorag Monastery. Um, and That said, seen here in more of an action pose than she probably will be, um, she is the one that is arriving in the keep to treat with the ruler and the ruler's council. So that being said, the ruler, played by Magpie, and that character's name and information and how they are kind of seen in this specific setting. Magpie, go ahead and describe your character and such.
Um, so my character is Evangeline Boivin, and she is a young kennel born, um, about 16. Um, Recently, within less than a year, has been kind of pushed into a position of power in this town. Um, she uh basically her mother was an upturn, and her what everyone assumes is her father is a lupine. So she kind of has looks a bit more like her mother. And um She's a cleric of Halloween, and is currently just trying to figure out how the heck to you know help her people um kind of get over all of the troubles that they've had almost since the day the town was founded. So um that's a little overwhelmed, very inexperienced, but determined to figure it out. So
And what Magpie alluded to there, I just want to make sure that that's kind of put to clear so we understand it, because it was mentioned in the last, in the session zero. Um, Evangeline's parentage is subject of a bit of scandal in the town, in that her mother, her husband was a lupine who
Hmm.
had gone away, and nobles from the nearby town had came out, and in that time is when Evangeline came to exist. So it was widely believed that she was actually the child of not um, her mother's husband, but in actuality the um, child of the brother of the matriarch of the other town. So just want to make sure that that's kind of out in the open, because this is
Yeah.
stuff that everyone in the group would be aware of, because it is kind of noble structure stuff. You may talk to NPCs in the town who might not be savvy, but you folks,
Like it's probably gossip in the town because like dude
That's
was
some
gone
hot
for 2
goss.
years.
yeah, most folks are gonna be in unconcerned and not really pay
Yeah.
attention to it, but there are gonna definitely be some folks who are savvy. But that said, as the lead kind of advisor to the nobility here in the town of Gateneath, is Jijo's character, Dahabe, correct? You're muted.
Yeah, Dahabe. Uh, also, it's funny. She also kind of has controversial lineage, I guess. Her mom is a Goliath, and her dad is a fairy. And she came to the town at an early age to apprentice with the existing lore mistress. And she kind of grew up alongside uh, this burgeoning ruler. Uh, she is very devoted to the family, to the town, and to her ruler. She is kind of an average height, slightly fey looking woman with big bushy curly black hair down to her ankles, and kind of in a curvy figure. She is versed in the bardic college of eloquence, and since her the lore mistress of the tower has become ill in the last in recent times, the Habe is now kind of having to run the show. She's also pretty young comparatively, maybe compared to others in the council. She's 24, so just a bit older than the ruler herself.
Very good. And this town that has kind of grown over the course of a few decades, the main source of its ability to thrive and not die on the vine is its establishment. It is a very well-known place where wine and other alcoholic beverages are kind of made, presented. And the reason that this guild of vintners has been able to thrive here is because of their leader. And Kevin, go ahead and describe your character as that is the individual I was talking about. You did as well.
You're muted.
Oh shit.
Yeah. How did you read my lips? Yeah. Okay. Yes, my character is going to be the magnate. And so I guess he kind of controls the money of the town, kind of. Would you say that?
Yeah.
And his name is going to be Mikhail Vine, and he is age 55. So he's in the prime of his life these days. But back then, he was probably getting pretty old. So yeah, so I guess what I would say is, as far as like what people would know about me, is that I've been in town for like 29 years straight. But before that, after I came of age and I was like 26, he kind of did the prodigal son thing where he took all this stuff, left town for 10 years, and then he kind of came crawling back to his family, and they kind of let him back in, and he proved his worth. And so his father was the previous magnate, and so he kind of worked his way into doing that. So he's very charismatic, and he's intelligent and dexterous, and he is a rogue. But I guess I would say real quick, the rumors about him would be that when he was gone, he was up to no good. Like he was committed crimes, stuff like that. But his family has always denied it. He always denies it. But like I said, he's been in town for 29 years now, and he's, been a productive citizen. So
yeah, you've definitely seen the kind of presence of the Boivin. Oh, I'm pronouncing it wrong already. The
Boivin.
yeah, and I love again, just for I know you want to put your full name in the name box, but
oh shit, sorry.
please just leave it as the first name so when we do roll initiatives, it doesn't mess it up. But yeah, boy, I did it wrong. I'm not even gonna try and say it. The ruling house. I'm gonna get it right eventually. I'm gonna listen.
Boivin.
Boivin, ruling house. So you have seen their kind of rise in the last 3 decades, and you've also seen a bit of the scandal that's kind of associated with the house. It's nothing that you think is too untoward, like whatever, and you may even see like it as politically beneficial that the current ruler is actually the progeny of 2 ruling houses.
Also, I want to say one last thing. Zach convinced me to do a Russian accent, so this is going to be fun, folks. I'm not going to promise it's going to be good, but I'm going to do it.
Just so long as it's not insulting or horrible.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully, I won't insult Russians with it. It can't be that bad.
I mean, yeah, as long as it's not like super terrible, we'll judge it.
I've been trying to practice. I don't know if it's any good, but we'll see.
We'll workshop it.
If it's half as good as your French accent.
Oh, I think my French accent really pissed off somebody who's sensitive about their French heritage, maybe.
Me? Was it me?
Yeah, it was you.
No,
that was you.
I fucking loved it.
It was bad. It was bad.
It was so bad. Anywho,
second worst French accent in the game.
Second worst.
Is Mikal a human?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's specifically a Jernaran human, which it's a subrace of human that are a little bit more magically inclined. And I'll quickly explain why that's the case, because it will come up. Jernaris is a culture of humans that, during the War of Sword and Serpent, sided with the dragon. They very quickly turned allegiances because dragons started consorting with demons and other things because they were losing badly against the elves. This is thousands of years ago for your characters, so it's not terribly relevant and current, but it is relevant for the Jernaran humans who are kind of to trace their lineage back to this time because their blood is kind of tied to the dragons in this way. And Mikal is one of these individuals who has kind of an innate sensibility regarding magic due to his bloodline. But the main thing is that the faiths of Jernaris have changed vastly in the last 1,000 years, and they no longer follow the dragon god Soland. Instead, they've assigned themselves to the Warring Triumvirate, the gods therein. As we mentioned, the ruler is a cleric of Aloain, the goddess of life and death. And there is a temple of Aloain in Gate Neath. It is not maintained or even ruled over, or rather run by the ruler of the town. She has her own matters to deal with. Instead, it has a very specific individual, the guide. Elizabeth, please discuss your character.
So Summer is a 124-year-old gnome. She is a little eccentric, but she is also a family woman who adores her husband and children. She's also a druid. I should probably mention that. But she has helped the town throughout the years by assisting with animals, with healing, that sort of thing. And she's made the temple, like maintaining the temple, the family business a little bit. So yeah.
Very good. And yeah, the temple is one of the larger draws for the town. It kind of acts as a launching point for people making pilgrimages up the mountain of Ermerag to the monastery. But sometimes people wish to kind of enter into the town as negative elements, possibly trying to make their way up to Ermerag to cause problems. But the city, or rather the town, has walls and fortifications that are built in purpose by, and also were paid for by the monastery to ensure that Gateneath served as a town that would defend the monastery up on the mountain. And the leader of the watch, the person who maintains vigil over this defense, is Chris's character. Go ahead and describe your character and give us a bit about him.
He is Morax Elzar. He's a 35-year-old dragonborn. He has lived in this town for pretty much his entire life, but when he was younger, like his parents were fairly respected guild artisans, but when he was a teenager, an adolescent, he kind of got in with some of the bad crowd, was a lot of a troublemaker. He did a lot of petty theft and crime, but eventually he got caught, served his time, and once he got out, the only people who would take him was the military, the guard, and that helped him basically not literally beat him into shape, but that got him into shape, helped him turn himself around, and he's worked his way up to be in charge. And while he's proven himself to be a reliable and trustworthy member of the guard and a upstanding member of society, there's a number of people who still just see him, especially the people who knew him when he was younger, who just see him as like he's still no good, but he does his best to prove himself.
So the older folks would probably know and have seen Morax kind of like in his progression here. The person who's probably seen the most out of this town, as they've been in it the longest since its inception, is the mayor of the town. Now, I know some folks are probably curious, there's a ruler and a mayor, what's going on? So the way it works is the ruler is very much the person who is in charge, and the mayor is very much the representative of the folk that are the lay folk. So the mayor acts as an elected representative for the townsfolk, for the guilds of workers, for everyone else, so that there is a means of them communicating directly with the ruler, rather than having kind of a situation where the ruler has to meet with every single person and kind of engage in that way. That said, Zach, go ahead and describe the mayor of the town.
The mayor is Casey. They are an auto gnome. Think Warforged, but small. They were designed hundreds of years ago and do have a history prior to the town, but they rarely, if ever, discuss it. And they honestly find questions about it to be irrelevant, because their only directive is to do what's in the best interest of the town. And the people know that their directive has been for the entire inception of the town to do what's in the best interest of the town, whether that's negotiating disputes between different guilds, that's reinforcing the guard with common folk during times of strife and attack, whether that's working with people to move supplies through the town up to the monastery. When the monastery needs assistance, they work within the town and with the townspeople directly, and are, as noted, they are an elected official. So they are open to recall. They are open to replacement, but they serve as that sort of liaison. So instead of having like the one day of the year where you can call up the president and ask the president a question, they work throughout the year to take those requests, filter them, prioritize them, and present them to the ruler and the other leaders of the town, and advocate for the town in its entirety when that's sometimes overlooked by others.
And as we discussed, the town was initially formed as a conglomerate hold. Casey's been around since then. The other people that have been around since then, and Mikhail, this would be kind of in your history because you were kind of born not too long after the inception of the town. Your father was on very good terms with Casey. It's mainly due in part to Casey's interventions and kind of forward motion towards the ruling class and also the monastery that the Vines have been able to prosper. So this kind of symbiosis here, like everyone has kind of place here. Summer helps with, the aspects of nature, which help the farmers, which help the livestock, which help this in kind. The ruler makes decisions regarding matters of import. The captain defends the town. Casey mitigates the words of the people, make sure they are being heard, and Dahave, the advisor, makes sure that all of the histories and all of the lore is kept. And the magnate makes a shit ton of money. That's it. You're all placed inside of the keep proper. Again, we're Theater of the Minding it, so again, sorry for not having a direct kind of representation of the map, but we all saw the map before. I guess I can switch to it. The space is very over the top when it comes to kind of just grandiosity. Upon entering into the keep's main floor, 2 spears are pointed upon you from 2 riders on horseback. And then there's a very massive step that goes up to a high dais where there's a throne. Now, I kind of had said, like, this is the space that we're in and where we'll be. I am assuming that Evangeline is on the throne, seated.
Yeah,
Okay. Now,
probably.
Dahave, where would you kind of put yourself positioned here? As you can see, there's a comfy chair off to the side, but there's also standing positions near the throne as well, or you could stand down at the base level as well. Entirely up to you. Muted.
Is there anyone with us right now?
So the courier that I had mentioned will be kind of in this space at the base of the dais, having just arrived.
Okay, so Dahabe would definitely be coming down towards the courier to introduce them. How do we, out of character, how do we
Well,
address the ruler?
Again, it's entirely up to you. It's your town, and however you want to kind of operate in that regard. But I would say that the courier would have already been kind of gone through like the process. They have been allowed in, and you've made yourselves ready to receive them. So again, it's more of a where would you be sitting, like in a more kind of casual sense, not so much in a formal like active sense.
Okay, definitely would be just kind of hanging out near the throne to be able to have like intimacy with the ruler.
Sounds good. Like on the left hand side. Sounds good.
Let me do follow up out of character question. Are we gonna keep calling Evangeline the ruler, or is there a title?
You can give it any title you want. Typical titleship for Jernaris is Lord. Typical title
Lady.
ship for lady in this case. Yes, a typical title ship for Kennelborn would be matriarch, patriarch. Typical honorifics for the barony of this place would be baronet or baronetcy for female. And then even further out from that, like it's entirely up to you what you want to title your characters.
Lady Baronet, matriarch.
All of them. You could actually form out a full heraldry if you'd like. These are
Lady Baronet Matriarch.
these are really exciting for me. So if you like say matriarch of the house name, baronetcy of the barony of Ulamon, lady of the lands of Jernaris, granted by the conglomerate during the year of name of the year that it started, and then
Oh my
daughter
God.
of name, so on and so forth. You could definitely build that out in a heraldric sense if you'd like to. Absolutely fine with that. But I'm not doing it. You're doing it. Take notes. So, but you're for now. You're standing right here.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
But I think Dahabe really wants to kind of maintain intimacy and like familiarity, but also give the matriarch her place.
Or space,
So
absolutely fine.
it'll be matriarch Evangeline, and I'll be around here.
Okay. Mikhail, you are also here. And just in case I didn't mention it before, the only two things that are kind of like a little kind of strange, the stairwells are completely kind of encapsulated in like pillars. So keep that in mind if you're like near around them. They're not just a stairwell, it's pillars that go up. These are defensible kind of positions. But yeah, that's it. For Mikhail, where are you standing?
Oh, the little.
Yeah, these little bits here.
Where would her lady like me? Okay, I gotta get used to this Russian thing. Rock and roll, Russian accent.
Oh no.
Don't worry, I'll get it.
It's good and subtle so far. We like that.
It's gonna work out. Don't worry.
um.
Yeah, where would you like me to
Yeah,
be?
I figure
Only
like
get better.
Only get better.
just having them come. Like if this is just like. Okay, so the setting is we're already all here, and then there's a messenger.
So what would have happened, just to kind of give you like an idea of the process, so you can help you imagine it. She arrived at the southern gate, which is known as the one gate. The Vine Gate. When she arrived at the Vine Gate, the guard there immediately reported that her presence was at the Vine Gate to the captain of the guard. The captain of the guard then took it upon himself to move from his position wherever he was to the ruler's keep to announce that this individual was here. Once that was done, he'd also have sent guards to the other members of the community that were important, this group, and those all would have been drawn to here. And then once that was done, once everyone had come to attend, the captain would have then sent his guard out to tell the guard at Vine Gate that she is welcome to enter, receiving a guest.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like the normal would just like everyone kind of has like their little clock hand position around this little half circle here.
Okay. So everyone's up on the dais is the important part.
Yeah, she would definitely have them up there. Like I don't feel like she'd like tuck them in corners or anything. Like
Sure.
because if they're going to be like helping her make decisions, it's probably maybe not how things were done before, but she would have been very adamant about.
It's your place. So yeah, I would say probably best just to have again for more my brain kind of lore and etiquette purposes, Dahabe and Mikhail and Summer on your left hand side, acting as your left hand, and then Morax and Casey on your right hand side, acting as your right hand.
Yes.
Active.
We maybe like draw like little or each of us like draw a little circle where we're standing.
It's not important, but
Okay.
you certainly can if you want to. I don't care. I will erase everything you draw eventually. But you're welcome to. So she stands at the bottom of the steps, and the steps are kind of not like really super tall. They're more flattened out. But she stands at the bottom of the steps, and just as a reminder, the individual that you are speaking with in this instance is Estrid Shallows, the honored courier of Urmarag Monastery. And she wears very simple kind of garb, a long blue coat, traveling garb. She has 2 simple knives at her belt, and a courier's bag as well. When she steps out in front of you, she opens the bag and says, Matriarch Evangeline, I have been sent by Her Honor and Her Glory, Valandrin Arachnius, once again, to treat with you, and to inform you that the Abbess of Urmarag Monastery intends to be entertained by you here in the town of Gateneath in 3 days' time. She and her entourage will make their way down to Gateneath. They will treat with you. They will I'm trying to think of a word for party that's less than party, or sounds more dignified than party. They're going to party with you, revel with you. They will deliver to you a message, and then they will make their way back up the mountain, as has it's been done many a time before. Out of character note, though, never once has it happened since you have been in power. She shuts the letter, or kind of closes the message and puts it to your just an attendant, and says, if you have any questions for me, the courier, I will of course receive those questions. And if you have any return inquiries to send back to the abbess, I will kindly take them with me.
I feel like she would want to know, like, but she wouldn't like necessarily ask outright, like what sort of arrangements would be expected, like as far as food or shelter. Like obviously they'll be staying in somewhere fancy, like either here or like one of the other.
Do you ask that?
I don't know that she wouldn't want to ask that out loud necessarily. I feel
You're
like she would
thinking
look.
it?
Yeah, I feel like she would look to Dahabe and just be like, do we have questions? I have questions, but I don't know if I should ask them, type of like, what do I do here?
Mute it again.
Oh no, the stats, I miss it.
Matriarch,
Patrick.
it sounds like you have some questions.
Oh Jesus.
Why don't you if you would like to consult with me, I can ask for you.
Yeah, she would just kind of like motion her to come closer and just be like what are, like, do we need special, like, I don't know, do they need special sheets? Do they need like
according
special food?
to the chronicles of this type of revelry in years past, there's plenty of examples that we can work from. Don't you worry. I'll pull the books and we'll get everything set up. But perhaps you can ask the courier if there's anything specific.
Okay, so she would kind of just lean forward a little bit and just ask, are there any specific requests in regard to accommodation?
As per the message, no. Nothing untoward or different than would be expected. I assume that the anticipation is that you, as new matriarch and steward of the town of Gateneath, would serve to make this revelry your own.
Okay.
She just
Honored courier, we will make certain that this revelry will have the seal of the matriarch and will respond to all of the expected traditions.
perfect. She just stands there.
Evangeline will look to see if anyone else is making faces or anything, has anything specific that they feel she should ask.
I have an out of character question. How many would normally attend this sort of revelry? Like, would we know from past experience, like 15 people came or 10 people came or?
Her retinue will probably be her plus 6 individuals plus 5 soldiery. The soldiery will not be anticipated to stay inside of the revelry or be expected to be fed at the revelry. Soldiery will probably coordinate with your captain of the guard or members of your watch to ensure that all defensive measures necessary for the abbess's stay are ensured. This is how it has been in the past, and no doubt how it will be moving forward. And assuming that Moirax has been captain of the guard for longer than a couple of years, this isn't your first rodeo, Chris. This will definitely be a situation where you're like, yeah, I coordinate with them all the time. It's cool kind of deal.
Okay.
You said that the high priestess has not come to visit it during since Evangeline became the ruler. When was the last time that the high priestess?
I'd say probably about 5 years ago.
Right.
Hold on. Actually, Kevin, when did your father die? Muted.
Muted.
You didn't want to get that last little bit, anyways. Good question. That's
It was about 4 years ago, was it not?
Was it?
Double checking your write
Double
up.
check my write up. I sent it to everybody.
Oh no, he died about a year ago. Would it have been longer than a year ago?
Yeah, we could retcon it. We just have to be consistent because the
Yeah.
people that are watching this will know,
He gave sorry. I see where it
Call
was.
us on our
No,
bullshit.
no.
and they'll call us if you. Hey, wait, you said it was 1 year. No, now you're saying
5
it's
years.
5 years.
5 years ago. It was 5 years ago. It's not for his funeral. It was not for his funeral. It was for the passing of the torch. So the last time they came down
Okay.
was when Frederick Vine gave the position as magnate of the Vine Vineyards to Mikhail. And they basically blessed that and had a revelry, and your mother, Evangeline, would have been the one who presided over that specific instance.
Do we know if it's the same party that's coming or are there new ones?
So if you ask Estrid,
Yeah.
she will tell you. Of course, I can advise you as to which individuals will be present for the specific revelry.
I mainly just need to know, just in case there's any allergies. You're
I love
welcome.
you.
It's like
That Dahabeg makes a little face like, ugh.
what's the funniest thing about that is because like it was kind of role playing, but it kind of wasn't.
I've been
True,
drinking
true.
kombucha today because I'm trying to feel better.
Getting in
Okay.
character.
Full method.
Full
Okay,
method.
but I
Method
actually
actor.
real life love kombucha.
Fair.
Same though.
It's
Can
great.
Can that be an
Me and
in-character
Evangeline do
thing
not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
that you're drinking kombucha right now?
Sure, it can be good berry kombucha.
So the high priestess and
Sure, it'd be
abbess.
great.
The high priestess and abbess will obviously be attending. She will be bringing with her Brigadier Roderick Ralliard, Holy Protector Oscar Ulrich, Hedge Mage Landaf, Avant Courier Estrid Shallows, Cellarer Tiffany Denegith, and her new captain of the Ermerag Knights, whose name is in Magpie's background.
I
I don't-
named something.
I don't know if you named your father or not, but that would be the name that's present. The one that was exiled
Murder?
to
Oh,
her
the one that
rank.
was exiled. I think you named him Romund.
That's right.
Daddy?
So
Oh my God, Daddy's coming to town.
a quick note for Dahabe. The person that was cited by Estrid in this moment at the answer of Summer's question is someone who was exiled by the last matriarch, not welcome back to this place.
Who? What's the name?
My dad.
Evangeline's father,
Papa.
Oh,
Rosmond.
honored courier. I think I might have misheard. Is that are you talking about the exiled Rosmond?
This is, of course, an inquiry. If he is not welcome, another individual will be placed as captain of this retinue in his stead. Looks to Evangeline. Do I understand it that his exile is to be maintained from one matriarch to the next?
Oh God, the 1st
Didn't-
choice.
You didn't think you're going to have like a real pressing political choice from the fucking first session, did you? Well,
Not even an hour in.
Not even.
an
And I'm
hour
like,
in.
do I undo my mother's
Not
work?
even an hour
Let's
in. Are
see.
you gonna win the game now or not?
You could always just give him a chance and
Why was he exiled?
He
Because
killed
he killed my actual father.
in a combat and in a duel that was engaged
Yeah.
by him because he was absolutely livid that they suggested
but was it a legal duel?
it was a legal duel.
An official duel?
It was not a duel to the death.
Oh.
The only duels to the death in Jernaris that are legal are mages duels.
You can certainly take the counsel of the wise druid. You might also consider how important it is to maintain tradition.
The man broke his honor by. No, that's not the voice I'm going with.
That was way too Terry.
Right? I was like,
We're not doing that. Not
Terry,
doing
you
that.
It was like you took Terry and hit the pitch down like two
Right?
notches. You know, like
Give me a few
just
sessions.
stretched him
but
out
like
a little bit.
You sorted it
15
out,
instead
Chris.
of
You sorted it
13.
out.
Let me. I'll
Terry hit
I'll
puberty
believe in
finally.
Chris, go ahead.
The man broke his honor by. The man broke honor by killing a man he had defeated in a duel. I'd rather not see that kind in this town.
Violating honor is a violation against tradition after all.
We have one person in your council who's saying you should give him a chance. You have two people who are saying, fuck that guy. no, I'm kidding. Not exactly that, but yeah. So, Michaela,
Kind of that.
Casey. I'm mostly just wanting you guys to talk so I can hear your
Beep, beep,
normal Russian
boop, boop.
accent. No, he's going full Jernarin with the auto gnome. He said,
I will break you. No, that's bad. That's bad Russian.
I don't know if I want to. I can't decide.
don't
I
do it.
can't
Yeah,
Don't
I
do
can't
it.
decide
No?
either.
Maybe
Don't
not.
do it.
You
Do
should
it.
do it, man.
Kevin should.
Kevin's welcome to.
Zach is a really good Russian accent, so
Yeah,
I can
Lauren,
only
let's
hope
go.
to be as good as him someday. Rock and roll.
Now he's going to do it.
I know, I don't have anything to say in character because I don't think I would really care too much either way.
So kind of just like stroking your chin, kind of looking at
Yeah.
the situation. And as we've discussed in side chats and also via pictures, just in case anyone doesn't know for sure, Mikhail has like a beautifully cut, like, just a little soul patch and a perfect triangle, and then a perfectly groomed handlebar mustache.
So he's
That's
literally just sitting there petting.
Oh yeah, he's just like doing one of these.
Out of
Nice.
character, how was he received like prior to his exile by the people of the town?
It's entirely up to you group as a whole. As it was stated in our discussion, he did, after coming back from adventuring, because he was a very active campaigner that would go out into the surrounding areas to kind of survey it and bring back information, which Dahabe now kind of lords over. He was very much an active explorer, and when he came back and was told he had a child, even though the math did not check out, he did not. He was upset by it, more likely than not in like private quarters, but he raised Evangeline.
Knowing that, I think Casey would turn to Evangeline and say, "Well, my lady, he was well liked amongst the townfolk. I must say, allowing him back in might go over well amongst the people.
We're doing Sean Connery.
A little bit,
We
A
love
little
it.
bit.
a little bigger
Love
than
it.
that, a little more
Love it.
open, a little less aggressive.
Yeah.
Like
Little less
it's
anti-women.
Yeah, yeah. I'll try not to slap any of the female characters in the face, but I can't
Okay.
promise anything because sometimes they just don't listen.
Oh, oh no.
Oh no!
That's a
Oh.
real interview with Sean
Yeah.
Connery.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Someone's
Oh,
gonna
Barbara
edit that clip
Walters,
out
right?
of context.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
True.
Okay.
Don't do it, Twitch chat.
So we've got 2 pros, 2 cons, and
Yeah, I thought that'd be fun for
and
you.
I don't give
You're
a
welcome.
shit. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
So you got 2 and 2.
Come on, you gonna listen to some old druid or to your best bud? Huh? Huh? Eh?
How long has he been exiled for?
Since she was
Um,
6.
Oh, so it's like 10 years.
Mm.
Kind of a long time.
So like she's literally working through a lot of, because like that's also when she kind of started to realize that, hey, this other dude is my dad and my actual dad killed him type of thing. And then my real dad's family basically tried to destroy my home. Like she got feels, okay?
People can change.
And there's nothing to stop you from banishing him again, no?
This is true. This is very true. Okay.
It could be another sign of strength amongst the people if he were to make another mistake.
Yes.
This is very true.
I feel
A forgiving ruler is often more loved, no?
yes.
10 years is a long time, my lady. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
That's good.
That you could mean it could mean whatever you think whatever you want it to mean.
Yeah.
If he's allowed back, I'm gonna keep men watching him day and night. I can promise you
Exalted
that.
matriarch, you should follow whatever is in your heart.
I love how Chris is in the discotheque again.
Yeah. Just go, Chris. Just go,
He's
Chris.
like, yeah, you're good.
Okay.
That's the revelry.
I'm gonna keep
The
people
right-
watching
I'm
you.
gonna watch him. Da-da-da-da. Okay, so I feel like she would eventually. She doesn't know how to feel necessarily right now about it. However, she does see a certain wisdom in allowing him back into the town conditionally. Like obviously what he did was very serious. But if the high priestess and abbess has chosen him to be the captain of her knights, she clearly trusts him. So there could potentially be like he could have changed, controlled his anger. She does remember something of his temper. from when she was younger. I don't know that she witnessed the outcome of the fight, but she definitely saw some of it. But she would definitely want him watched for any potential for threat against the people.
He will serve as captain of the knights, so he will not be invited to the revelry. He will be in league with your captain of the guard. If that helps you regarding your desires to have him engaged, looking to Moirax when she says that it should be no problem for you to watch him directly, as he will be with you throughout the entirety of the abbess's stay.
I will allow it.
Matriarch Evangeline.
Yes.
Another option is simply to make an exception for the revelry, but to maintain his exile after.
I feel his behavior during the revelry may determine my decision in that matter. But for now, there will be an exception made.
Fair enough. Then the retinue will be as stated. I believe there is a 7th position in individuals who will be actually engaging with the revelry that has yet to be determined. I do not believe it will be anyone that will be unwelcome or who has not entered into the space before. A determination has yet to be made regarding this 7th seat. Nods her head. Again, still question times, but also I do want to make sure you're getting the vibe that she is just standing there while you're just sitting there.
Okay.
Almost as if she's like waiting for something.
She
To be
yeah,
dismissed.
it'll be like 1 second and then Evangeline will be like, "Oh, you may go."
Thank you, Mage. And then turns and leaves.
I would walk down, like, after Evangeline says you may go, Morax would have left his spot up on the
Dais.
podium, the dais, thank you.
Yeah.
He goes down the stairs and signals like 2 or 3 of the other guards to follow him, and he leads her out the door.
Okay. And you walk with her to the Vine Gate then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The rest of you are left in the silence thereafter?
Wasn't expecting that. And then, like, literally, she says that out loud and would look to Dahave and just be like,
It's hard to say. The abbess is a very wise leader. Maybe there's a reason behind it. Summer, are you sure you don't want to like read Rosamund's vibes before deciding if his exile will be rescinded?
You
I
would.
just
Sorry, real quick. I do want to make sure, based on the backstory and your duration in the town, Summer, you would know Roman. It's Roman. I double checked my notes.
Roman, my bad.
oh.
No, it was my bad too.
Good.
But you would know Roman from the past, so you can make any kind of determinations you want. And I do want to make sure that we're in keeping. Anything that you say about Roman is probably true. So, like, any kind of mentality you can kind of like create is fine. So the thing is that Evangeline's idea of Roman is going to be different than everyone else's. I am going to fill the gap. So make sure you understand that Roman is a character that you effectively created. I named him, but he is your character. So if Evangeline, you're like, oh, when I was like before he did what he did, he was abusive to me and he had a huge temper or something.
Mm-mm.
That's your call. If you want to say that he was a great father, and even though the situation was very much bad, he did his best, you know, like whatever. However you want to gauge it, that's fine. Or if he was just like a, you know, a distant father who did his own thing, also fine. Whatever it is, you decide, that's fine. Whatever that is isn't going to be known by the general public because that's private. Those private
Yeah.
subject matter between you and him. They're going to see him differently. So whatever they say, I'm going to try and fit into.
Yeah. And I did kind of have that in my backstory where there was like a very different aspect to him in public versus when they were alone
Yeah.
at home. So he was somewhat attentive in public. You know, keeping an eye on her, holding her hand, stuff like that. But as far as like the private stuff, I'll just
And
There's
most of his
nothing
exploits were done outside of the town. So
Yeah.
what people know about him was he went out and did good thing,
mhm.
you know.
Mm.
Went out, did good thing, came back,
Right.
Had a
raised
kid.
child.
And like the other thing too is if you're what 15, 16,
Yeah.
that means that when it happened, the people who would know about it would also be about like 15 or 16. So they're in their like 30s or 40s now.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't have told anyone who's currently in their like teens to 20s, like the young adults of this town, like about that. They would have just told them the good stories about the town and left out that one part about when exactly you
Like Morax is
Yeah,
probably.
right.
you know, like you don't need to tell your kid that exact timing
Morax is-
about how 9 months equals this, you know?
Right.
was probably on either his redemption arc just beginning or was in the middle of his bad boy time. Like Summer has been here for a long time. Not since the
Yeah.
inception of the town, but yeah, definitely a long time.
Mhm.
Since the inception of the temple for sure. And then,
Yeah.
you know, Mikhail was possibly gone at that time. No, that was 15 years ago. You were definitely here. 29, you've been here 29 years. So yeah, you would have seen that at probably as an adult. And then Dahabe, yeah, you probably like not here yet.
You were like what, 10?
Yeah, but I think at the same time, I probably heard stories from Evangeline
Yeah.
about any kind of weirdness,
Right.
right?
You would
Yeah.
know more of the truth than
Yeah.
the general public's knowledge.
I'll DM you. It's not anything crazy.
Okay.
Wait, so what was the question? Sorry.
Oh, aren't you, don't you want to like check out his vibes before commenting on his exile?
Well, of course, but you can't just like check his vibes unless he's here. You can't assume someone's intentions from a distance, you know? And like a river, people change.
Some stories are inscribed in stone.
And a river can also wash away a stone over many a year.
Casey's
you
gonna
there.
turn to Miko. So the metaphor game bores me. Shall we? He gestures to exit.
That is true.
Unless there's something else we could do for you, my lady.
I think we'll be needing some wine for this for sure, but I can
Of
talk to you
course.
about that later, right, Evangeline?
Yes.
And perhaps I can speak to the Entertainers Guild. No?
Yeah.
I will consult the chronicles of the town to determine what this revelry has been like in the past. I'm certain, dear Casey, that you have witnessed it here or there, as have you, Summer.
Haven't missed one yet.
But I think it's always wise to consult the lore first.
I think that was Shijo's subtle way of saying, "Hey, fuck you, I'm a bard."
Yeah.
That doesn't
Sounds
mean you
right.
can't have a dance troupe to your
I
music.
agree.
I said the Entertainers Guild.
Yeah, that's
What
fine.
if you want like an accompaniment?
Or accompaniment.
There you go.
More than
Hey,
fair.
we do have a
Company of men.
brothel.
So
If Britney Spears can do it, I think you can too.
I do want to make sure, Lorax, you do exit the Vine Gate, and you would see that Estrid has brought a beautiful fine steed down from the mountain. The steed in question has bright red hair, and you would know that this horse is not hers. It is actually the abbess's personal steed. It is of a breed known as the Ranin, which are a summer elf horse, but they're closer to a unicorn than they are to a regular horse in kind. Much larger, bright red, kind of when it moves, it almost kind of moves with like a grace that's very elvish, very sylvan, very fey. And as she takes mount to it and rides off, it is the fastest creature you've ever seen, and probably not the first time you've seen this horse, to be sure, that you've been here for a while. So you are well aware of the Renin steed of the abbess. Once the deed is done there, Captain of the Guard, do you return back to the keep or return back to duty?
I would return back to the keep because I would know there'd be discussion going on about all this.
Okay.
I would tell most of my guards to go back to their duties, but because we don't need to guard the keep at the moment.
Yeah, they know their job.
Yeah.
You head back that way. Casey, it sounded like you were about to dip set. Mikhail, it sounded like you might have joined Casey. Is that right?
This is true.
Don't worry too much about the accent.
I'm working.
It does seem like it's limiting you in kind of
It
replies.
is, that's right. I can only say things with a TH, a W,
no.
an R.
Listen to me.
Rock and roll.
Listen to me.
man.
Listen to me. I just want you to talk.
I know. I'll work on it.
It's okay.
I'm working on it.
I believe in you.
It's a process.
Fair. But
His process.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Are you leaving as you are leaving as well, though, right, Kevin? Okay.
Yeah. No,
So
I'll
the
leave.
two of you are
Leave.
exiting as Moirax is re-entering the keep.
And then I would say,
You're passing each other. You can talk if you
Yes.
want to or not.
I would say, wait, what would I say? Gosh, I think we have discussed most things already. Goodbye. Well, I sound like a bad guy, but it's the Russian
Goodbye.
accent. I'm gonna say goodbye.
Davarish. That's the
I'll look presumably down at Mikhail, just nod at him.
And then further down at KZ.
Yes. I am a 6'10" buff dragonborn.
Yeah,
Taller
I
than
don't know,
my
is that-
You're
boy.
like-
I imagine
probably the
Casey is like a little over 2 feet.
Oh,
like
oh
small,
my
even for an auto gnome. Just
I actually
real,
don't
real
know if
fucking
that's
tiny.
like tall or short for a dragonborn.
It's
I've-
average.
Okay.
I feel like when Evangeline was like 2 or 3, she literally tried to play with Casey like he was a toy. And then was like, no, stop it.
As our mayor.
Happens every time. They keep regenerating and playing with me like a doll. Yeah.
I got a question for you, John.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of assuming that since like our finances would be in decent shape and
Yeah.
like having a 7-person party, even if it's pretty extravagant, isn't going to break our bank. I mean, we could afford
No.
to pretty much do a lot.
Yeah, no.
Like,
It shouldn't be an issue at all, especially
Yeah.
since most of your provisions aren't going to be purchased. Like you're not going to buy from merchants who are in town unless there's extravagances that you're interested in, like outside of the norm. But you have food, you have lots of alcohol.
Right.
Like it should not be an issue.
Got bards coming out of our ears.
Out of our ears. There are guilds who are going to actually like pay you to have the honor of being kind of present for this. It's just so much to say you as a group need to, or you as a ruler independently need to decide how this revelry is, or you as, again, whoever's doing it. This session is you planning what happens next session, just so you understand. You have 3 days to do it, and that's what this is.
Okay.
So first thing, Dahabe is going to say goodbye to the matriarch, you know, French kiss, mwah mwah, see you later, and head to the tower and start looking up old chronicles to see what's been done in the past, and we'll try to recreate sort of what do you call it, a manifesto, right, or whatever, like of all the different things that are going to be needed. An itinerary.
Manifesto.
Yeah. A manifest.
I mean, I expect that
or
from
itinerary.
Casey.
And we'll kind of like send it off to everyone, you know, to kind of do whatever they need to do to make it happen, like to the letter.
Cool. Now you said that you're going to make this, and then you expected me to go, oh, great, then it's fine. No.
I don't expect that. That's just my
okay.
intent.
Cool. Make it.
Okay.
40 barrels of wine.
But I assume that Mikhail would go back to his manor, as it's relatively early in the day for you. And then I would assume that Casey would return back to the office.
Correct.
And then Morax, with that kind of just, you know, them saying that they're kind of done with that business, you just go back to duty, right?
I would go to the over to the barracks, get together like a few of the lieutenants and whatnot
Mhm.
of the town, and just explain to them the situation so that all the guards will know what's going on. I would start trying to, not trying, I would, because I am capable. I would start making sure that everything is just more secure for the High Priestess. I would make sure like my best men are on the job, and particularly I would did you ever give my my best bud a name?
No, I didn't. That was absolutely
Oh.
for you to do, but if you'd like, I can make one up on the fly.
Oh fuck, I did not give him a name. What's his name?
Let's see. He was a what race?
Kettleborn.
That's right. His name is Rook. Rukh.
Yeah, that's better
would-
than Fleabag for sure.
Racist.
I would well, I sometimes call him Fleabag, but it's in like a friendly way.
Oh no! Come on now.
Okay.
It's so rude.
So rude. He probably would not be chill with
Is-
that.
I
Unless
actually
he
probably-
can call
that-
you.
Is that like their word?
No. It's just
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's
just
like
straight-
not used at all.
Yeah, so a real quick note
Got
on
it.
Kennelborn, which again is the race from the Burrowbound deal.
Actually, yeah, would it be like a horrible thing for me to call like
They do not like being associated with animals,
uh,
even though they're anthropomorphic dogs. Like they are very much a sentient creature that has personality and has like, you know, a humanity, for lack of
Yeah.
a better term. They don't look at themselves as dog people. So when you
Okay.
say haha, and like say here boy, or make jokes like that, it's
No.
immediately like
That's when you
Whoa.
lose your faith.
Yeah.
okay. In that case, I would know that. I would not do that.
yeah.
I would particularly tell him to that what's his name? Romand?
Roman.
Romand. Okay. That Romand is coming to town, and I would like him to be in charge of keeping an eye on that guy.
Sounds good. No problem. You would note that your current staff of guard is 75 strong based on your town's leadership score. And so we have a breakdown of what that means. 50 of these individuals are guards. And when I say guard, I mean the NPC monster type guard. And if you don't know what that means, you can go into the compendium, type the word guard, and then under monsters, you should be able to look at the kind of loadout for what a guard is. 20 of these are soldiers, and soldiers are also in the compendium. Soldiers are better than guards, but again, they're not like crazy powerful, like insane things. No, instead, the 5 kind of lieutenants that we're talking about, and Rook is one of them, would be knights, which is another NPC type.
You said 50 guards, 20 soldiers, and 5 knights.
Correct.
Okay. I would just, yeah, that's what I would do. I would communicate that to lieutenants, tell them to start organizing the men below them, and I would particularly tell Ruck the deal. And even though I'm a man for allowing someone for respecting someone turning themselves around, we also need to respect the law and make sure that he's atoned.
Rook would say, well, I'm second cousins with Romand, so I'm very much of the opinion that he wasn't in the wrong that day. I know that he definitely slighted his honor in his action in killing the member of Idhelm, but I kind of think he deserved it.
I'm not saying we need to shove him around, push him in the corner. Just
I'm not planning on harassing anybody who's a member of the Abbess's entourage.
no. We'll just keep an eye on all of them.
Absolutely. And Rook is a lupine Caliborn, and there are a number of them here. Also upturned, kind of good amount, farms and the like. And Rook's a good guy, so he obviously has his opinion on this based on the way he's seen it. Cool. You get back to the mayor's office, Casey, and what do you do when you get there?
I imagine I would go to first contact Espen.
Yeah, Espen
Where
is
they're at.
hard at work, laboriously just kind of writing what appears to be a copy of some documents. They look over to you, their central eye, and kind of, oh, hey.
Espen, my dear. I have news for you.
What fucking pleasantries did you get up to over there?
Well, it seems we're getting another visit from the monastery.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Not since the old Vine passed, no?
Well, passed the torch. He died a while after that, but seems like the Abbess came down for the
Right.
switcheroo.
Right. It seems like he was master of the vines only yesterday.
Well, I'm not that long lived, but yeah, I get your meaning. Sets the quill down and kind of looks to you. Are we doing anything in particular?
I believe we're waiting for our assignment. I said we could reach out to the Entertainers Guild, perhaps see if there's a dance troupe or a new improv acting group that would like to put on a short 30-minute live performance or so.
He kind of crosses his arms across his little bulbous body, and his right eye stalk kind of like creates a mage hand, which picks up the quill and very quickly on a different piece of paper kind of writes a quick note. Okay, yeah, that seems fine.
I'm sure Dahabe will take care of the music and such, but
Yeah, that sounds right.
perhaps some sort of notice we could put up for the town too, with approval from the keep. We could get
Yeah,
one of the posters to draw up a preliminary sort of demo poster for the town flyers. No,
yeah. Well, I mean, sure, I can get the sign makers on that.
of course. Just one to start. We always want the ladies' approval. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The hand just kind of lazily writes all these notes down, and I do have a handout for Espen, the master of the Scriveners Guild and also associate of the mayor of town. They are a beholderkin, and they are studiously writing all the notes as taken, wearing their cool little cape and awesome star hat.
I love the star hat.
He's so cute.
I love him.
They're the
They're
cutest
so
little
adorable.
beholder.
I love them.
I love them.
But yeah, they take these notes down, and kind of from our perspective, we start planning and kind of getting information out to the guilds and the like regarding the matter. Mikhail, you return home. Like I said, this is typically pretty early for your day. Like, you don't really get into the day of it. Oh, the thing that I wanted to, sorry, real quick, Zach. Espen would have said, when are they? What day is it that they're coming? You're
3
muted.
days.
Sorry, we have 3 days to prepare.
Day of Dan, Holy Day, Avis. Typical. More than fair. She's probably just trying to get out of church.
When you've been going for your whole life, it does seem just like it might be exhausting. No.
More than fair. She'll probably want to visit the temple early on if she gets here early enough. I would expect on that. Then she'll probably make her way to the keep. Kind of take some more notes, and then now switching over to Kevin. Sorry. Mikhail.
No problem.
Like I said, you're probably headed to your manor house. Anything in
Yeah.
particular you want to do there?
Well, I think what I would want to do is I think I would swing by the like the distillery, I guess. When you're making wine, it's distillery, right?
Well, do you want to check on anything at home first before you head out, or no?
Yeah, I would. I was thinking, would it make more sense to swing by the?
You're on this side of town, so you'd actually be kind of easier. Like if you go south, hit your home from there, and then kind of follow the Vine Road out to the Iron Shoe Gate, and then you make your way back into town to the
Okay.
Grand Hall
Then
of
what I would do
Revelry.
is I would go in there and I would check on Margaret, who is my butler.
Mhm.
She is actually also taking care of my brother Gabriel, and because he is very sick. So
Mhm.
I would want to check to see how his progress is.
Well, if I remember correctly, Kaylin was the nurse that was attending.
Oh shit, you're right. You're absolutely right. But then so
Margaret's-
my Margaret would do the rest of it, kind of take care of the household type stuff.
Absolutely. So Margaret, explains to you. She just says very courteously, everything within the home is as you left it, Lord, and Kaylin has not reported anything untoward. I believe your brother is still sleeping, and his breathing is quite good today.
Excellent.
If
I
you-
will go to the I'll go to he wants to go to the office, so like I don't know if I'd call it the vineyard, the what would I call
So
that,
the-
distillery?
Yeah, so you can call it whatever you'd like. The official name of the place is the Vine Grand Hall of Revelry. And the reason why it's called that is it's the main hall of the vintners, so people who make the wine and kind of bring to the town. It's also a place where other alcoholic beverages amongst that guild are kind of brought to. So those would include spirits, beers, every kind of I don't know, but obviously the main draw for the town and the thing that kind of rises par excellence over everything else is the wine.
Awesome. I'm sure everybody wants to hear me say Vine Rand Hall of Revelry. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I got to work on my Russian.
You sure do.
I should.
Or just
So
don't do
anyway.
it. You could.
Or just call it the hall.
No, I'll work on it. I'm working on it.
gonna-
I don't want to give up a challenge. I can start saying stuff that I practice, like democracy or freedom of speech.
Try it
When
out.
am I
Try it
ever
out,
going
Putin.
to use these? All right, so this is Russian by Tamara.
Can you
I'm giving
can
her
you
a
say
shout out.
Pizza Hut?
This is
Pizza Hut.
what is happening right now? No, this is terrible. Stop.
I'm doing Russian words. All right.
That's awesome.
So anyway, no, I would head over. So after I talked to her and found that out, I'd be like, okay, that's great. I'd head over to the Vine Grand Hall of Revelry, which is awesome.
Okay. So we don't currently have an interior for the Grand Hall, but just so you have an understanding, my plan is for it to be multi-leveled, so about 3 tiers, and kind of like a centered out, kind of hollowed out space where like the exit halls are like the best way I can describe it is if you're familiar with like images of the interior of the library at Alexandria, they have like the scroll sashes. Instead, inside of these spaces are bottles, and like on the different sections are labels for like what vineyard it came from, what the vintage is, and then there are other sections where the kind of sections are larger, and then there are barrels, and these are ales, and then some of them are also wines that are not bottled. Inside of the Grand Hall, there are 2 people of import to you. There is Rilka Greenbottle, who is the halfling lady of House Greenbottle, a small halfling riverfolk house that makes its way through the town, but mainly kind of keeps to the rivers and waterways in and around the area. They do have a home straight across the street from yours, but they typically use their boat homes more often than not. But she is present. You would know that she is the steward of the Glassblowers Guild, and all of the bottles that you use and all of the other fine our vintners use to bottle their wine come from her guild. So she's here. She appears to be very much kind of set for business. It doesn't look like she's looking for anyone in particular. It just looks like she's kind of going over a lot of different things, kind of moving from person to person, talking to other vintners that are present. The other 2 people that are important to you and are present, you would see that there is... hold on, my notes. Young man present. He is a not so. There isn't really a guild for the porters and laborers, but he is a representative of kind of the collective that has formed. They're not a full-on guild though. They're just more of like a grouping. And he's present. It looks like he has just unloaded some things from a cart that's been pulled up the steps to drop those items off here to be stored by the 3rd person of import who is dutifully working. This would be your main employee, whose name I am looking for in our notes. Do you have your employees' names or no?
Yeah, well, yeah, I had Adam, who is a dwarf. I put it. I was a human or a dwarf. I'm thinking dwarf would be
Okay, dwarfs make sense.
cool.
So Adam, and do you have a surname or no?
I did not.
Okay. Adam, Great Crusher. Okay. And I would assume that Adam Great Crusher would probably serve more of a purpose in the making. This is more a person who's taking kind of their work into the storing and cataloging. Who are your other 2 employees?
Well, I had Margaret.
Margaret.
That was my
Okay.
butler for the.
That
for
makes
the house.
sense. That tracks, yeah.
And then I came up with a name. I wasn't sure like what sort of Kettleborn type names to have, but
Kettleborn.
I figured I would have like a maybe because there's a lot of Kettleborn in the town.
Yeah,
Maybe like a Kettleborn helper who was maybe like an apprentice as
Well-
as a winemaker?
Yeah, let's go ahead and say this is your cataloger, basically serving as desk jockey due to the stewardship that they're following in kind of your footsteps. And a good name for this individual will be.
I came up with a bad name. I don't think it's a good name, but you guys can tell me, I guess.
Well, say it, and if it's really bad, then we can judge you for it.
I know. Pretend this. Maybe if I say it in a Russian accent, you guys won't think
No,
it's me.
it'll be worse then.
All right.
If you
I
don't,
was
want,
coming up.
if
I
you
came
don't,
up with Scrog, but I didn't know. I mean, I was just trying to think of a weird kennel
No.
name. I had no idea of like a naming convention for.
yeah, definitely a bit more,
A humanoid dog. Not
culture
dogs.
than that, especially if it's an upturned. This
Yeah.
individual's name is Bedrick.
Okay, that's a better name. Better name.
All right. And Bedrick is the third employee. And last name for Bedrick will be Duvine.
Like Duvine.
Yep. And he would come over to you and say, "Oh, hey boss. They just shipped off the articles from the northern farms. We're getting those stored away. How is everything at the keep?"
We must prepare. In 3 days, a revelry will be happening.
You can lose the accent. It feels like it's
No.
it feels like it's limiting you a lot.
It's
like
very hard to even to say much. Yeah.
yeah, just drop it. It's I appreciate
feel
the
like,
effort,
I
but
feel like I've let all the Russians down in the
Yeah.
whole world that are watching this. All right, maybe I'll bring it back later, but for now, I'll drop
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
A revelry. That's great. I've never actually. Well, I was too young to really appreciate the one that happened back when Frederick, passed the torch. But yeah, that sounds great. We should be able to get. Do you want me to get the finest, or maybe just a more apt supply of options?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think we would want options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would want some options of different qualities.
He has like a clipboard and kind of pulls the sheet over, pulls it back a bit, and kind of starts taking notes with a piece of pencil, effectively. It says, "Okay, great. That shouldn't be an issue. The individual representative of the group of laborers, the one who brought this item up, he seemed to want to talk to you about a matter." Kind of gestures over to the young lad. You can see that he has a long sword at his belt. Looks like a kind of scrawny and yet kind of like corded, kind of muscular kid. Kind of just a tuft of like raggedy brown hair. And in present, or rather in past exchanges with this fellow, you would happen to know that his name is on my notes here. Eric with a K.
All right. Okay. So, did you discuss anything with Eric? And
Oh no. I knew it wasn't my place, especially since he was talking matters regarding coin.
what was his mood?
Pleasant enough, and you can see that he doesn't look like he's, since you've known this kid, and he's probably in his 20s, he's always in he's always in good spirits. He's a pleasant enough person to deal with.
I would say, thank you, Bedrick. I will go see what he wants.
All right. When you come up to Eric, he kind of turns to face you, and says, Master Vine, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, if that is what you're doing here.
Yes. What would you like?
Well, us individuals who've been moving things for the Vintners have had kind of an issue. We haven't really been able to get in communication with Casey, the mayor of the town. And we were hoping that you might be able to set up a meeting. We haven't had the ability to formalize our agreements that we made with your father. And, well, my father's too old to deal with the matter and has always just hoped that you would see the necessity in forming the Laborers Guild more formally. And since I've kind of taken over now, I was hoping that maybe you could get me in contact with Casey, since I understand he also is a member of the council that Lady Evangeline seeks out when she seeks counsel.
Yeah, I have a question as to it. Would I know how many people he's talking about when he's talking about like Laborers Guild? Like, is he talking about 20, 50? I don't know.
Probably in their 30s, a total of 30 or so.
All right.
And they're basically the ones who are kind of at current responsible for moving stuff from the exterior farms kind of into the town, and also kind of helping marketers and such kind of load stuff. But it's, so far as to say, just been kind of like an informal thing from the merchants to these individuals, and they haven't really unionized to kind of formalize their group.
Right, right. And so I think Mikhail, he understands like the value of like fair wages to your laborers and stuff. So he would, look at Eric and say, of course, I can get you in touch with Casey. The mayor is a bit of a friend of mine, so
Well, good.
I could definitely get you an appointment with him. So what time are you thinking of? Are you thinking of like, in the morning, afternoon?
Should be free all day tomorrow. You of course know how to reach me. And yeah, you would know. He lives not too far from here. He actually lives outside of the town proper. He lives kind of like in the extremities. But he says, I always felt that was the case. You've always seemed, as long as we've been working together in this matter, a very just upstanding guy. My father, when I was younger, would always say that your father was really interested in squeezing every bit out of a copper he could, and that's why he wasn't interested in allowing my father a seat at the table. But I appreciate you organizing this meeting for me, Gail. I really do. And Master Vine, I hope everything today is in order. If there are any issues, just let me know, and we'll see about getting replacements from the originators. Okay?
Yes, that sounds good. I will just preface this with one thing. There is a revelry coming up. So I don't know if the mayor is going to be super busy tomorrow, but if he is not, I'm sure he will see you. And if not, it may be a few days later. So just keep that in mind. If it ends up not being able to work out for tomorrow, maybe in 4 days or something, he could meet you.
That's more than fair. I understand. And again, you know how to reach me. Tomorrow would be the best day for me. If it had to come at a later point, a 6 day from that, as that's usually the day I take off.
All right, fair enough. Thank you for your work so far. I'm sure we can come to some agreement.
No problem. And he kind of moves over to his cart, kind of takes it to, move, and he kind of heads out the door. Again, it looks like he's just kind of pulling the cart like it were like a scrimshaw, instead of having a beast of burden doing it. And again, he's just a small guy. Well, not small. He's like 5'8", and he looks like he might weigh like $180, dripping wet. But like he's still, lifting this whole cart. It seemed to have brought it all the way up here himself. That being said, once he moves away from you, Brilka immediately kind of slides over to you and says, "Oh, a revelry, you say?"
Oh yes, I'm sure you're going to be one of the first to hear this because it was just discussed. So yes, that is true. There will be another revelry.
Perfect. And she's kind of looking up at you as she's talking to you, as Rilka, like I said, is a halfling. And she says, I'm assuming that you'd probably want the most neatly ornate bottles for whatever vintages you plan on serving at this revelry, and perhaps maybe some fine goblets. I know the crystalware in the keep is a bit lackluster.
Sure, that's an excellent idea. What sort of things do you have available?
Well, if it's no problem, I'll just go ahead and organize a nice little kit. You can take it as a gift of my graciousness, and you'll remember that finally, as since you're going to be busy for the next 3 days planning this revelry, and perhaps sometime next 6th day we'll discuss the matters of our arrangements moving forward.
Sure, we can do that.
Very good. And she just kind of like wanders off. Seems a bit happy at that engagement. Moving from you to Summer, you make it back to the temple, and your whole family is there, probably waiting, kind of like, hey,
There's important news.
oh yeah,
Well, we have a revelry in just a few days. 3, Day of Dan, very important day, as we all know.
if the abbess is coming, she'll probably want to stop here first.
Of course. That's why I think we need to have prepare for her visit. Cleaning the temple will be top priority, and prepare for a little extra on our typical Day of Dan rituals and celebrations. And maybe some extra meditations and meditational movements, I think will be good for the abbess.
I know that the abbess is focused primarily on the matters. This is Gertie you're talking to, by the way.
Yeah.
I know that the abbess is more focused on the tenets of order when it comes to Octavius, but if she is coming to visit this temple, perhaps a little bit of the normal rites of life and grace will assist her in her being able to take pleasure in the revelry. I will see if I can't prepare the specific rites. Be ready.
That sounds
She kind of
Good.
almost skips away from you, kind of heading off into like temple to where she would kind of have her scrolls and such for the rites and rituals. You would see that Rocky is present as well, but hasn't really started anything regarding kind of like service for, or might have already finished service for the people in the temple, as it is their job, or rather his job, to kind of keep, the temple staff well fed. And you definitely see nothing of Dahlia. She is not present here. But I would say that Sky probably is.
okay. Let's see. And Sky, could I please have you make sure that all of the books are perfect, and make sure that we have all of the money in order to be able to facilitate this? I would also like for you specifically to please sweep the front steps. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And as you're kind of talking to him, you can see that he's already kind of presently at a desk working on documents, and you can see that it looks like the inventory pages of the healing potions and stores of the temple, it seems that a number of healing potions have been scratched off today and have been notated by him with very shorthand, just initialism, as to what has happened to them, and you don't know what the notation means.
Is it like an odd number?
It's a strange number, yeah, just 3 potions of healing.
All right. Looking across that, who needed these potions
Oh, kind of looks
today?
at the books and kind of narrows his eyes on the pages. Oh, yeah, that handwriting looks like that looks like Dahlia's handwriting. I don't know what she needed them for, but she took them.
Do you know where she is?
I think Gertie might. Kind of shrugs. Sorry, I've been kind of gestures towards the books, keeping an eye on this.
I understand. I'll ask Gertie and Rocky. Don't worry.
You know what? He kind of shuts the book and kind of settles it to the side. I kind of need a breath of fresh air, anyways. Walks over to the broom, grabs it, and starts heading to the front.
Great. I'd wonder back. You said Rocky's there.
I don't think. Yeah, Rocky would be there, but again, like it looks he's just chilling. Like there's no food or anything out and about. It seems like breakfast course has already been kind of served out to those who would have received it.
All right. He can just chill for now. Take your 30-minute, I don't know.
His workstation looks clean.
Yeah, he's good.
Karen.
Wander off to find Gertie again.
Okay. She's sitting upstairs, kind of like surrounded by scrolls that have been kind of loosed out, and she's kind of like in an almost meditative kind of, she's like, crisscross applesauce, kind of like hands off to the side, kind of like humming to herself. And as you kind of step into her area and she can hear you, she kind of like, oh, hey, did you need something again?
Yeah. Have you seen Dahlia? Sky doesn't know where she is.
Oh,
and
right.
She took healing potions. Do you know about that?
Yeah, just after we had got done eating breakfast, and not too long after you had left, one of the teachers from the school had rushed over to us and asked us to help. One of the children apparently was climbing up on the memorial and fell off, and so Dahlia rushed out there to see what was up, and she just grabbed 3 potions quickly. Did she check them out? Is that how?
It was my brother, wasn't
Maybe. Maybe.
it?
Amazing. Oh, it's no worries. It was a weird number, and she doesn't usually just scribble it on there. She'll usually let me know.
It was kind of a rush.
I understand. I will
I thought
go check to make sure everything.
I thought I told Sky to sort that out, though, so it's kind of weird that he didn't.
You know him. He's got his head in the numbers.
I'll check. I'll make sure that he does it, and if she doesn't get back soon.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'll check in on it. Thank you.
She gets back to humming and doing her thing. Flash to let's see. The keep. Dahave, do you stay with the ruler, or do you head back to your tower? Muted.
Dahave is heading back to the tower.
Okay.
To consult the chronicles and also to check in with Millie.
Okay. And Millie is, I don't think I have that note.
Millie is the kind of elderly and infirm lore mistress.
Okay.
retired lore mistress.
Nice. All right, I see where your stuff is. Okay. Cool. That's why my brain didn't have it tracked, because it wasn't in the side conversation. It was in the primary. That's
Might
totally
be.
cool. Totally cool. It's just my brain. Anywho, she's unconscious.
Okay.
I don't think she'll probably be up till noon.
So
Yeah.
you know, like the bed with the sweet dreams charm.
That's where
That's
she
where
is.
she's at, and it's kind of keeping her preserved.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, she's loving it. She's very much just sleeping through the morning. Didn't exactly have a busy evening, but yeah, just you check in on her. She seems to be in kind of a good state of sleep. And then you consult the chronicles. Is there any in particular questions you're wanting to ask regarding anything directly, or is it more just kind of personal planning?
I mean, I think she just wants something to lord over the rest of the council and be
Okay.
like, according to my research, and
So I just want to make sure you understand,
Yeah.
like, that's your purview to say what's in those books as well. I said that keep is yours to define. That includes every jot and tittle that would be in the books. So
okay.
as long as it doesn't conflict with the history that we created last session, I
Mhm.
do not mind you saying,
I will easily get lost in the details. So I want to just like maybe a highlight is that previously like every revelry had an epic poem that was recited, and that I don't know what would create conflict. Ooh, that there had to be a dance.
okay. So a dance is absolutely required.
Yes.
Perfect.
And there would be details about like what kind of drinks and what like how things should be said at the table, and she would take notes and kind of get ready to deliver it to whoever is in charge of like at the hall of like setting
Like-
that up.
Okay. That
Like
sounds
the
go ahead.
like the exact height of tables and like where people had to sit and like the
I genuinely don't think Tilly, right?
Millie.
Millie, sorry, you got it wrong. I don't think Millie was that thorough in the histories. I think it would have more have been kind of broad brush kind of stuff, like more kind of like keying in on lots of stories versus one story being told like perfectly. So it definitely would be more like a recipe written by someone like on a napkin versus like a recipe that's in a book that's been scrutinized by, you know, committee and like put into paper. Like if it's something that was written by Millie, then it would probably be something that was kind of like kind of point of view and very much just kind of like out and about. So I don't think she's going to know table heights.
Well, what I'm thinking, maybe not table heights, but like what I'm thinking too is like there, I don't know. I think like at this kind of like event that's sort of formal, right?
Mhm.
Like there's someone there, like some kind of scribe that's like taking notes on stuff. Like Millie would maybe jot down some of like the political intrigue or like important historical events surrounding the event. But I think the Habe is green, and she is very tied to like traditionalism. And even if the tradition isn't really there, I think she's kind of gonna
Well-
force it to be there.
So like if there were like what I'm hearing is that
Yeah.
if there were like, you know, this number of tables to accommodate like the short people of the town and like this many tall tables for the taller people of the town,
Yes.
she would like take that as like law.
Law, yes,
But
exactly.
I don't think Millie would have detailed or like even conceptually like thought about that. Like in the
Okay.
writing, I think when someone is a historian is writing, they're kind of you're not reading George R. R. Martin here. Like we're talking
Mhm.
we're talking more kind of just like a flippancy that's like a bit more direct. What I think is poignant though is that you
Mhm.
said like, and there has to be a dance. Now that can fall in line because it could have been like, and then they danced as like just a part of a revelry, and you're like, they have to dance. Because every single one they danced before, so you see the
Yeah.
tradition in the writing. It's more like a person who has been around for a while, Millie, has written this over time, and you're looking at these instances and going, this happened every time, or this
And
happened.
interpreting it as a role. Yes. Perfect.
And if you'd asked her directly, she probably would have been like, again, I'm just kind of I'm kind of ripping on the voices. Probably, I definitely was gonna go for that kind of voice. She would have said, "What? No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter what they do. It's just so long as they're having fun."
Like, no, you're old and senile.
They dance.
He's kind of giving like Professor McGonagall.
They dance because they
No,
want
that's
to,
the school teacher.
and they left their friends behind because their friends wouldn't dance. And if they didn't dance, well, they're not friends of mine.
Oh no, the references are getting crossed.
Did we do a safety dance reference in the last time?
We
Or was
I
it-
think
did.
it in
We
this game or
did.
Sunday game.
Was it the Sunday game? I don't remember.
Oh, it was the Sunday game. It was
Was
the
the
Sunday
Sunday game.
game. It was the Sunday game.
That's how you'll fight. You'll get
All the
dance off.
Yeah.
It might say
And then I
something in
said
those.
safety dance.
What was it, Kevin?
I would say it might say something in those old books that everybody that goes to the revelry has to speak with an old Janarin accent, which is
Oh,
a Russian
God.
accent.
It definitely doesn't say that.
It definitely doesn't say that.
Oh,
Anywho,
no.
the lore is kind of yours to make up, but I think the best way to kind of think of it like is the way we just discussed. Like, I don't think Millie was like a detail, like writing every detail verbatim. It was more of a kind of broad brush and like keeping.
Well, yeah, she
Yeah.
was sane and just like a good lore keeper.
100%. And she was a good storyteller is the other thing. too.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like these stories that you're reading are like awesome. Like the interesting parts kind of bleed over the less interesting parts. And I would say another cool like idea for her writing style is she probably wrote the less interesting stuff in smaller like
Mm,
strokes, but like
Mhm.
the stuff that she wants to kind of highlight over, like the dance was beautiful, and that's probably why it came out to be like dance is necessary. It's in bold script. It's in so
there's gotta be a dance. It's in the lore.
It's in the book. Check my notes. Just write some of paper. Dance happens. Okay, holy shit. At the keep, as you're kind of milling about the situation at hand, I'm assuming you're not just sitting in your throne the whole day. What would you like to
Uh-oh.
engage with after treating with the courier?
So I feel like she's still fairly young, so she probably still has lessons of some sort that she's kind of kept up.
Okay.
So like with a tour, I'm still kind of solidifying my ideas for my little NPC people, but one of the ideas I had was like a tutor.
Okay. And
To
to be sure, was the tutor in the? I don't remember.
I have not posted anything about it yet.
Okay, just the broad strokes for you. As
Yeah.
well. Okay. Do you have an idea on a name for this individual or no?
No.
Okay. And do you have an idea? I mean, this person's probably not family, probably someone outside of it, like an advisor.
Correct.
Okay, let's see. Okay, easy enough. So, a older Janaran woman, who has kind of been the housekeeper of the keep since before you were, well before your mother was born. She's a Janaran woman in her 60s or so. And let's see. Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I can probably throw a face to it here as well. Okay. And a name. You got a good name for like a almost like a Dorothy from Golden Girls like character? And I say almost like
Yes.
because I have a drawing. It's pretty close.
Heloise, Heloise. Or are we going where Janarans are more
Either way. H E
Russian,
L
Slavic?
O I what?
SE?
Okay.
Because like I'm having her family kind of be more French leaning, but like if Janarans are kind of more like
So,
Slavic,
Jernar-
Eastern
Jer-
European.
Jernaris is kind of like most cultures in my world. It's not a just set kind of ordained thing. It's more of like a blended culture that is kind of, in its own way, kind of focused more on individual families having their own kind of dynamic. I don't, again, Jernaris as a rule in the past, not a rule, but more kind of just a means of kind of catching to it, are raised up out of the Sverkic culture, which in my kind of mentality is very kind of like Slavic, Proto-Slavic, and like that. So that's why Jernaris typically falls to the Russian standard, but Eastern Jernaris is more that than anything else. Whereas Western Jernaris, where you're at, is kind of connected to Parnak, which is very English.
European.
And yeah, you're kind of in this place where it's like Europe. Like there's a lot
Smooshed together.
the barony of Ulamon is separate from everywhere else. The duchy of Levidia to the north is separate from everybody else. These are these independent cultures that have kind of created their own idea of what is. So, I mean, some Jernarans in this space may have kind of Eastern Jernaran accents, whereas some of them might have Parnan accents, and some of them might have kind of this middle ground. French is what it sounds like, kind of accents.
For a little like flavor,
Mhm.
like Heloisa is the like Slavic variant or a Slavic variant.
Got
Okay.
it. Love it. And then surname will just be I'll come up with that later. But for now, Heloisa. Looks like this, and she is the
Yeah.
tutor
Yeah.
matron, and kind of serves
An
as
icon.
the like keeper of the keep. And she would take to you after, like almost immediately after everyone leaves, and says, "You handled that quite well. I appreciate your capabilities in deferring to those you feel are worthy of speaking their mind in your presence. Leadership is not always about doing the right thing. It is knowing who can do the right thing. So, what are your plans for this revelry?"
Well, I know Dahave is going to consult past records. That'll give me some idea of what went well and maybe what didn't. Wine, I guess.
I can tell you from experience, Casey and Mikhail have been at a number of these in the past, and they could serve you well. As well, Summer has also been at a number of these. They could serve you well. The Have will definitely consort with Millie and also the stories of the past, and this will also serve as beneficiary to you.
I trust that they know what works. Having been to these things before.
I will tell you that in the past, one thing that the histories may not tell you, and what others may not be able to explain either, is that your mother took an active hand in regards to planning these. It was very much for her due, whereas it seems that that is what the abbess has prescribed based on Estrid's notation.
Okay.
I would like to also advise you, since I am giving you counsel, that your brother was hurt today.
What did he do?
He was climbing on your mother's monument and fell. He seems to be all right. A representative of the temple has engaged with him, and the teachers have not sent any sort of alarm forward for us to be advised, other than the initial notice.
Well, I guess if there's no harm, I'll speak with him later about climbing monuments.
Of course.
I think this is a lot. I've never had to plan anything like this before.
I can assure you that this is nothing compared to the weights that will be placed upon your shoulders the next few years. I do not doubt the abbess will probably inquire with you regarding the matters of House Idhelm and what is to become of that association now that it seems to have become less mired in anger.
Yes. I'm not sure that I'll have an answer for that. It seems that the matriarch of Idhelm is.
She has sworn herself to you, so
Yeah.
there is at least that. This revelry is in 3 days if you
Should.
know regarding inviting the lady of House Idhelm. I would not advise it
Okay.
because of your suggestion to allow Roland to be here.
That would not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, then I guess I should go see to preparations for the revelry.
Of course. And if you kind of make your way to doing that, I'm going to move back around to Morax. Now, Evangeline, are you planning on leaving the keep to start these planning efforts?
Not at first.
Okay.
Like, so if there's anything that needs to happen between, because Morax came back, right?
No, Morax
No.
went to the barracks, and that's where he engaged with his lieutenants regarding the 3 days.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
I popped into the keep, but as I was coming in, I think Mikal told me, like, we're pretty much all done here.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Okay.
So I went to the keep.
Yeah, then
or, sorry, the
honestly, I would
barracks.
probably go out and just start.
Okay, so you would know that there's an official means of doing that. Like you could just go, but if you want to go out and kind of like not have to deal with like people coming up to you and talking to you and stuff and bugging you on the streets, you would typically call for an entourage, which would be the
Yep.
guards' purview to come to you and do so. And again, it's not that like you couldn't just walk around the streets and be fine. Most people would probably just, it'd be like being a celebrity, kind of walking on the street. People are going to try and talk to you. If you want to ignore that, like, and not like avoid that kind of contact, then you would just want to get a guard. Your call. How you want to go out?
I feel like she would go to the tower first.
Okay. Yeah, it's surprisingly easy enough for you to kind of go there, but you do notice that you are noticed by people in and around that area, and they seem to kind of like know that you're in the tower now that you've entered it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll cut to that here in a second. I'm going to snap back to Chris real quick. So you had engaged with your individuals regarding preparation. Is there anything in mind that you want to like engage with, like anything that you can think of that you might want to have ready or be ready to do during the time that the abbess is here? Is there?
Um,
Good.
I would want to for sure want to know where they're staying.
Okay.
So that we can, I would myself in like check that space out, make sure everything is secure, nothing's gonna go wrong there. Check like any points of access there to put a guard up there.
Okay.
I would need to know exactly. We were told 7 people were coming, so I already know that.
Uh-huh.
I would make sure that that all of the gates are well manned during during the arrival, and that every watchtower is being watched
As best as possible with staff. Yeah.
as best as possible.
And would you, to kind of make sure that the abbess's presence here is kind of secured against possible entry from other people, like raise the drawbridge at Blue Gate or Blue Dog Gate?
Yeah, I would
I-
secure that
I mainly
gate.
I mainly just suggested it because I wanted to show off. Well, hold on.
Mhm.
The gate's up. And now, oh wait. Hold on, sorry, I gotta move it so I can show it on stream. Okay, hold on. I'm a child.
All right, guys, I want to make sure that this gate works. So can you just raise it for me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now lower it again.
Oh, okay. You got it, boss.
Lower it.
Thank you. I appreciate you, by the way.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Good job, boys.
I love map variants.
It even has like a little bit of a dust cloud around the bottom of it.
Yeah, because it dropped down, of course.
Yeah. Just that little.
I assume it's because people were kind of like moving wagons across it, but whatever. Anywho.
It's a little.
I wouldn't be terribly. I wouldn't be like terrified because, as you said, our like prisons are currently empty, so presumably there's not a lot of crime that goes on, at least
No.
that we know of.
I would say that the town, which kind of extends outside of this kind of gated area in this segment here, is probably 1,000 people total.
Mhm.
A couple of like almost everybody who lives inside of the gated section is someone you're familiar with, at least, by appearance. You kind of know like each of these houses, even though we haven't kind of filled out all of these spaces yet. Like, across the street from you is the general store. You know that like the tavern's just up that way, the Wolf at the Gate Tavern and Inn. You know that there's like all these different places, and who lives where. There's nothing crazy or untoward. There are some kind of in town rumors and things like that. But nothing like crazy. And if you want to kind of investigate those rumors or like put your ear to the ground on those, you could.
I would ask. I'm gonna ask like my lieutenants or any of their men if there's anything worth really concerning ourselves with. For rumor wise.
No, but we could definitely go and check out the keep's guest home. That's not a problem. You would know that the small little building kind of next to the keep on its side there is where like honored guests and the like would stay, kind of behind the tower. That shouldn't be an issue.
Now I want the abbess to have a full guard around her at all times. I want all the gates fully secure, and I want as many of our watchtowers fully manned for the entire duration of her stay.
Absolutely, of course. One of the lieutenants chimes in. I will also make sure that this would be Rook speaking. I will also make sure that the houses nearby are investigated. Shouldn't be an issue coming from the Lore Master's tower, unless you have any means of suspecting.
I don't see any reason to expect our good lore master to be up to anything, but it
Sure.
never hurts to look around the space.
Fair enough. We will do a circumnavigation of the tower. We'll check the house next to the guest home of the keep and check the spaces in between the keep and Vine Gate to ensure that there are no issues.
I'm gonna go with you to check that guest home.
Okay. You head off this way, and I'll mark it with a noter here in just 1 second. Moving on from you, we're gonna snap back to. Sounds like Evangeline was about to head out. So I'll kind of see if she's gonna. She moves to the Lore Master space. You two are engaging. So the Lord of the town just moseyed on into the tower. No retinue, no guard.
So like, I guess there's probably some kind of like a shop bell, arcane shop bell, right? That rings whenever someone walks on in.
Your call.
Yeah, we'll say that. And the, I don't know, golems or whatever are in there protecting the space, are not going to attack the ruler of the town. And like there will be like this really long like tube with like a horn at the end that like snakes throughout the entire tower.
Like a
It's
Dr. Seuss book.
like a Dr. Seuss book. Hello, who's down there?
It's me, Dahavi.
Oh,
Dahavi,
Vanjie, come on up. I'm on the 7th floor.
Okay, so she'll kind of look around, and then if there's no one on the first floor, she'll like pat one of the golems on the head and then just go up the stairs.
Yeah. So as you kind of enter into the space, it's kind of like a dirt kind of filled hall around like a more kind of structured stone wall and double door there. You enter into that space and then there's a staircase. And you said the 7th floor?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's an elevator, right?
No. So
No, okay.
just the stairs. But if you walk down the stairs on any level while holding the ring, or rather the amulet, and you basically, as you're walking, say the name of the floor you want to be on, you go to that floor. So if you want to go downstairs and recover her and then go back up to where you were.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So Dahabe pops into existence in front of you. Come on, interlocks arms, bloop,
And then
up to
walk.
the 7th floor.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to show you, I found some very important lore to ensure the arcane prosperity of the realm. First, we need to have an epic poem performed by yours truly, obviously.
Okay, good. Okay.
Oh, no. Vanjie, please. And you do have to pick the poem, though. And there will be a dance. There's no way around it. See here and find on the fine print, it says that you and possibly the other council folk will have to bring a date. So that'll be really fun. And the last thing is, that's it. So we should probably talk to the mayor about
What?
What?
Hold on.
Yes.
A date?
Yeah, you can't go to a revelry without a date. That's
Who
like
is
a
supposed to bring my brother?
Oh no, isn't there like a stable boy or something you can snap up? Oh no, that would break with tradition. I'm
Talk
sure
about a
there's
scandal.
there's got to be somebody. We'll ask around. Maybe Summer will find you someone nice. Take one of her kids. She's got like 8 or 9, 13. I don't know.
There's 3.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know why I thought there were a lot. Never mind. Well, no, we'll
no,
leave it
it's
in.
canon.
We'll leave
That's
it in.
happened.
It's
Yes.
canon.
She just doesn't know.
I'm not drawing them
There's
all.
Not drawing the 13 children.
She just
So-
sees a gnome and assumes it's Summer's. And Summer's like, I've only had 3.
Or like any gnome child. Oh, it's one of Summer's kids.
Be like, your
They're
mother's
everywhere.
at the temple. Good, just go.
And all right, well, we should probably either send a message to the mayor. I know he's looking for entertainment. I don't know if I don't know if I trust his taste. No offense to the
I mean-
mayor. But we need a band at the very least. And I'm
Okay.
sure he knows someone that will play for the dancing.
Real quick correction.
Yeah.
The mayor is they them. They're non-binary. Sorry.
I think that the mayor will definitely know someone that we can hire for a band. They know all of the artisans in the town.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But like the books say I have to have a date.
Oh yes. You wouldn't want to break with tradition. It's inauspicious.
Okay. All right, what about food? Let's talk about food.
There's not a lot of regulation about food. Doesn't seem like anyone has allergies. Wait, what's my religion? That's not bad. So 4. There's not out of character. Are there any like dietary restrictions due to religion?
Not for
Or the
Halloween.
abbess? No.
Are the Atavians kosher?
The Atavians are not. No.
Atavians are not kosher. Okay. So the food, who do we talk to? Oh, we haven't talked to anybody about food. We'd have to go back to the hall and talk to the head cook.
The cook.
So, are you planning on leaving the tower? And if so, do you want to call for a retinue first, or do you want to stroll out into the streets without one?
Did you come over here alone? Vanjie, you can't
The
go
scandal.
around just walking around the town on your own. Look, we'll call the guards. They'll escort us over to the mayor's place, and after that, we'll swing back by the hall.
Cool.
Okay.
Now, for me to introduce an element that you have yet to be aware of. In all of your character
God.
drawings that I haven't finished yet, but some of them I have, you'll notice that some of you have weird gemstones on your belts.
Yes.
And other of you have strange gemstones on like other parts of your person. They're calling stones. You can communicate with anybody inside of the group simply by talking into the stone.
We love it.
Because I hate the idea of, oh, we're not hanging out with a party member because we don't know where they are. So you,
Yeah.
Agreed.
you need a retinue. You need to call
Okay. So
Group chat.
is
I could have called my
Javi
daughter
gonna
this
do
whole
it?
time, John.
Is the Javi gonna call him, or is it just gonna be like little Vanjie going, guard captain?
Oh,
Marek.
I can call them for you. Don't worry. I know you're shy about using this calling stone. Guard captain, we need an escort over at the tower. We'll see you in 5 down at the bottom.
This is right about when you're, Chris, this is right about when you're set to enter into the guest chamber, or the guest house, with Rook and Co. So you're literally right behind the Lord Master's Tower. Muted. Still muted.
There we go. Do I run into them at all, or am I?
No.
Do we just not even see each other?
They're calling you to come get them because the Lord typically doesn't walk around without guards. You currently have Brooke, 3 other guards, and yourself, which is pretty standard for a retinue. So, change of plans. You head on over.
This is Elzar. What's going on?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were listening. We need an escort down at the tower. The matriarch has been wandering the streets alone.
What?
We'll be there.
It
We'll
was
be
like
there
10
not even
feet.
a minute.
As you're talking, you can hear them screaming from the phone and just tap and turn it off.
Yeah.
You walk on over to the front of the Lore Master's tower, standing out there with your guards. And
Okay, maybe it was like 40 feet, but still.
the people who were Morax, you kind of look around and you
80
actually
feet.
notice that this building, like over here, kind of inside, the windows are open and people are kind of looking. And as you kind of take position and notice them, they kind of close their shutters, like they were watching and waiting to see if what they saw was actual. And then out comes the lady and Lore Master, and then you, as a company, head where?
To the mayor.
Okay. And then during that course of travel,
Or were we talking to the cook? I forget.
Let's talk to the mayor first.
Okay, let's talk to the mayor.
He's a very busy man, so they're very missing. They're a very busy autonome, so we've got to, run in and talk to them real quick.
absolutely fine. So you kind of circle around, kind of out and around, and come to the mayor's office, entering into the main hall. And I believe your business kind of remained the same, Casey. You really weren't doing anything outside of kind of going over, coordinating, using contacts to kind of get guild members present. Does that sound about right?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. So I would say that by this point, you have actually gathered one member of the kind of higher ups regarding the guilds, and the individual you're speaking to here is the Entertainers Guild, for lack of a better means of coining it, individual. And this person, she is a Jannaran woman, kind of flowing brownish red hair, just very ornate looking kind of clothing, just very brightly colored. She has a dagger at her hip, and a couple daggers at her hip, yeah, just very much a dancer and performer type. And I'll get a handout for her here in a second, and a name too, unless you want to come up with one, Zach. Nope. All right.
Nope, didn't have one. Sorry.
Okay. Ingelia. That's a name I use for a dual bladey kind of.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Oh.
she has arrived, and she says, "So I have answered your summons, Casey. I assume that you have some sort of party that you're planning. Is that right?"
Oh, it's not my party.
Of course. You are
I
not.
wouldn't have time for any sort of revelry amongst myself. Too much work to do around the hall. No. The office moves too much. I, of course, am speaking of the monasteries visiting again. Yes.
Ah, the abbess. It's been a while since she's been down here. Yes,
Quite some time. Years, in fact.
of course. I can assure you that I can facilitate instrumentals, dancers if necessary, other forms of entertainment if the pay is good. At about this time, the doors open, and the retinue plus Lord plus Lorekeeper kind of enter into the main hall. You see her kind of look oh, and kind of step back in a way like she just doesn't want to engage unless
Without even batting an eye, like he doesn't register, or they
They
don't
don't.
register that like her reaction is like aback. They just like turn immediately to the Lord, and they're like, "Ah, of course, the lady, just who I needed to see. I'd like to introduce you to Angelith. She's a rather skilled performer and the head of the current head of the Entertainers Guild. Recently voted in, no?"
It's a mishmash. I've been it before. I am it again. It.
So hard to keep track of you. You dancer types. You move too quickly for an old man such as myself.
And of course, leadership is always more vital if it's renewed every so often. And she kind of says that, like looking down at the ground and like not trying to make it sound pointed, but I'm pretty sure everyone thinks that it's pointed.
So they run right up to Evangeline. Now, I'm not sure if you've decided what you're going to do with your dance for the performance, but that could either be provided or taught to you by, I believe, Angelia. No, they turn like to like point the two of them at each other, like, huh?
She steps forward and kind of like bows gracefully, kind of lowering her hand out to you like so. And do you kind of honor her by placing your hand in hers?
Yes.
She kind of raises it forward and kind of kisses it upon the back of the hand and then allows it to go free and says, I will, of course, be more than happy to help with any forms of entertainment that serve not only the town, not only the House Belvin, but also the abbess of the monastery. I am more than happy, especially if those that are working for me are compensated fairly. She says, she kind of looks over to Casey. At about this time, Mikhail, you probably received a call or summons from Casey as Casey was calling in other guild leaders, and you are the Vintner Guild head, so you're probably stumbling in at about this time too.
Sure. I'll be walking in. So, like, just walking in the mayor's office. That's where everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I would say, hello, everyone. We're going to make some plans.
I believe we've already started, no?
Excellent. What can I help you guys with?
Well, all good revelries include a bit of the spirits, no?
Absolutely. I've already started to set some stuff aside, and I will have everything prepared before 3 days even arrives.
Kind of explain the space that we're kind of standing in. This chamber here that I'm pinging is kind of where you've walked into, the central hall of the mayor's office. There are a couple tables kind of out and about. They're probably covered with papers, but Casey, it wouldn't be too hard to hop up into a chair and slide them aside and pull out a fresh piece of parchment to kind of start writing notes on.
As opposed to doing that, I imagine Casey sends for Esper to come up from downstairs.
That's been, yeah.
Espen, and once they come up, they'll I imagine they'll work as a notary for taking notes for our meeting.
Okay. So yeah, the beholderkin floats in and situates themselves kind of floating over the table, turns the paper, and kind of like crosses their arms, lazily kind of shoots one eye down as the mage hand appears manifested from it and starts doodling. Or writing, less doodling.
Starts drawing pictures.
Okay, so as you start to plan, obviously there's a lot in your minds that you're probably like trying to feel out in your own head and aren't really able to kind of like engage with that verbally. I feel like the planning portion of this would probably be more kind of situated in a kind of text-based mentality. So kind of focus that in your head, like think of the ideas. If you have something you want to push out in like dialogue, Absolutely. But I'm going to shift gears and move us over to Summer. Um, Summer, as you're kind of hanging about in the temple, eventually, the individual who rushed out so quickly, Dahlia, returns. She has 3 empty flasks kind of about her, and she looks like she's kind of frazzled. Like she's kind of had a bad situation. Like she was definitely doing something very serious.
Dahlia, is everything okay? I noticed you took the potions. What happened?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't notate it correctly. Madam Summer, I had to rush out quick. The child, the Oven child over at the school fell. It was pretty bad. She kind of takes a
But
seat
he's
in one of the kind
but
of.
he is
Oh, go ahead.
fine right now. Sorry.
He is good. He will survive. She says as she kind of takes a seat in one of the big, kind of like beanbag-esque cushions that are kind of in the area. And as she kind of relaxes in it, she says, "It's really strange. He seemed to exhibit." She kind of looks up and says, "I don't know how that could be, but he seemed to exhibit the after effects of seeing a ghost."
Ghosts?
His,
This was at the school in the monument?
he climbed to the top of the monument, to be sure.
I know he's athletic,
Quite,
but
quite, and I know that Kennelborn aren't typically keen on climbing, but he's a bit of um a daredevil, that child. When I was finally able to have him come to, I had some snake oil in my pocket. I administered it and also the 3 potions. I'm sorry if that was too many, but I felt it would be necessary, and I'm sure we can be compensated by the the ruling house. But I spoke to him briefly before the teachers and school stewards took him in, and I asked him what had happened, and he pointed at a house near the tower. A house over kind of near where the mayor's office is located. And when I looked over there, I could have sworn I saw someone in the window looking back at me. And then they moved away from the window.
you think this was a ghost as well?
I did not have a similar effect to seeing a ghost as I presume the child had. I don't think for a second that that was because I was strong enough to deal with the matter, although I've been pretty fortunate in my time. I just don't think that that was the case. Like, it did not assail me like it might have. It did not display its true nature. It was just a silhouette, really, when I saw it.
This is very troubling, especially as the abbess is coming in 3 days. We truly need to find out what is going on amidst all of our planning.
I know that you have a direct link to the captain of the guard. It might behoove you to reach out to him and see if he is interested in investigating that house. I assume it might be prudent, especially since it's not too far away from. It is not too far away from the keep itself. And as you're kind of like mulling over in your head where she might be pointing, or where she might be saying it's from, this house is the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But the house behind it is 2 stories tall in its entirety, and it's kind of up on a higher ground. So if you were looking at the monument, you could see the second floor, you could see the first floor and the first and second floor of this house.
Mhm.
So it's just
A matter of angle.
yeah, it's definitely one of these 2 houses. But if you ask more direct questions, it seems like she saw what she saw in this house. Pinging it.
No. Okay. All right. Good to know, but it would be best to check both. Just to check all of our boxes.
Of course. I believe an old elf elf merchant lives in the house I saw some movement in. If it's the other house, I believe it belongs to one of the tiefling merchants that manage the marketplace.
This is true. Let me go talk to him. You relax, do some meditations,
You
and
see her kind of like just relax in the cushion, kind
yeah.
of just like, and then she pulls something out of her pack, and you can see it's devil weed, and she's just gonna go to town on that.
Learn from the best. Um, so then I'd call up, sorry, I'm still doing names. Who's
Morax.
Morax? Okay, Morax is the guard. Kind of walk away a distance, probably out onto the steps, and ask Morax where he is.
Morax, you get a ping on the calling stone as everyone's kind of in the midst of, and of course you can like throw it out there for the lulls, but I'm assuming Casey and Dahabe are kind of like very focused on like the details and like kind of discussing the matter after Mikhail has kind of like said something regarding like, you know, what he's bringing to the table, and Geliath has just immediately kind of removed herself from it and is probably actually standing close to you, but like in a weird kind of like she's like, I don't know, in a strangely interested way that you probably don't pick up on.
No, I've got 10 wisdom.
More than fair.
Amazing.
So do these things like, is it like basically we get like a little tone
Your
and
call.
with like, all right, so mine would just be like bleep 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 or whatever, a magical twinkling sound. It'd be like stepping, like sort of taking a couple steps away to take a call. I'm like a couple steps away, like, hello? Because I'm like,
Hi.
you've got Elsa.
It is Summer. I was just wanting to know where you are right now and if you have time to consult about the happenings at the school today.
Well, I'm currently escorting. What did we officially say that?
Matriarch.
Matriarch. Thank you.
Or
I'm
lady, like I think it's interchangeable depending on
Matriarch or
preference.
lady. Okay, thank you. I'm currently working on escorting the lady around town, but I think we might be here for a little while. Is it urgent?
It's something that I personally would like to deal with before the abbess gets here. And it is about her ladyship's younger brother. So she may or may not want to hear about this, depending on her concern.
So he is actually officially her heir.
Okay.
So
Oh, no, sorry. Did I
that
say
adds no,
what?
like
That's just a note.
Yeah.
just a note
okay,
that
a note.
he is the
yes,
official heir to her
Right.
position.
Because she doesn't have
Children.
children yet. And that's her only brother?
So she has twin siblings who are 10, and the brother was born first. And the
Okay.
other is a sister.
Okay. Brother and sister.
Mhm.
And more fun. So Cannibal-born society typically leans towards the female being prioritized. However, Jernaran society does not care what gender the heir is. So as a Kennel-born ruler, you had to decide, well, which tradition do I follow? Which one came first? It was him. He's the guy.
That one right there.
No hard decisions to be made because like they don't do past the first person heirship. So yeah, if everybody kind of ends up in a bad situation, then the heir is decided by proxy or by combat.
Okay.
Fight. No.
It's just a bunch
I
of
lower my
kids.
hand. You said Evangeline's sort of standing kind of close to me.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're kind of in the center of the room. You kind of move to the outskirts to take the call. So
All right. Give me just a moment. My lady, there seems to be not an active situation, but a bit of a situation at the schoolhouse. And the guy and
Oh, my brother.
Summer says that it might be something you need to hear about and help look into.
I heard he
Through the stone. I said you need to look into.
Something that I might need to look into that might be of interest to you. And I'm like saying that into the phone as like, is that right? Might be of
Perfect.
interest to you.
she wants so badly to be like, so he wasn't just being stupid, but like she bites her tongue almost literally. And she's like, okay, is it urgent or can we finish here?
just to kind of give you an idea of where you're at in the planning segment, I assume we've been doing this for about in game for like 20 or 30 minutes.
Okay, so it's literally like they're just like,
So
do you
we're-
want this or this? And she's like that. And
We're-
then like,
No, we are no closer to a active like plan
okay.
than you are in real life.
Okay. So I think that she would just let them, like, I was told that he is not in danger. I think we should address the situation here. Get the plans in place. And then I will come deal with whatever it is, I guess, that you need me to deal with.
The lady says once she's done taking care of business here, we'll give you a call on the stones, and I'll escort her myself to meet
Right?
you.
When did he turn into a
I love
cowboy?
it. I love it.
Sheriff,
I
know
love
where
it
that
too.
came
Sheriff
from.
Make him
Max
love
is
it.
all I
He's
want
working.
now.
I'm gonna be honest. I love it. I
It's
want
so
to be a
hot.
sheriff.
That's
You're
his voice
Dragonborn.
now. That's his voice now.
You're,
He's
you're
like,
no longer captain. You're sheriff.
Belated.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from.
It came from
This
Zach.
ain't
Zach
this
said
ain't
it.
gonna be a
Marshall.
revelry. This is gonna be a hoedown.
Yes.
Aw.
A hoedown.
Dragon-
John, you need to add a cowboy hat to the drawing.
More than fair. Dragonborn are super fond of line dancing.
Ah!
I
No,
love
do you get it? Because
Yes.
they shoot line breaths.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, I need a
Yeah.
cone.
Oh, cone dancing it is.
Oh my gosh, is it like the sword dance?
No.
Except they just shoot breath and you have to like hop over it.
I imagine, I honestly imagine, like, if Dragonborn were to do dances and stuff, it would be very similar to Avatar: The Last Airbender, when like they do
The
the
fire
fire
dance?
dance. Yeah,
Yes.
that
I
was
love it.
pretty cool.
That was great.
Anywho, Summer, do you retort?
They can finish what they need to finish if they think that's more important than an heir to the throne seeing a ghost and almost falling to his doom.
Oh, seeing a what?
Not in
Wait.
my city.
I draw my sword. Not in my town. I don't do that.
Forget this planning.
Evangeline just like looks at him, and her little ears kind of twitch in her big poofy mane.
She
She's
goes
just like-
airplane mode where they just do
What just happened?
Aerodynamic as fuck.
Zoomies.
Not.
Got the zoomies.
Oh my god.
But yeah, you would have overheard that undoubtedly. Most of everybody would probably have overheard it since you broke off the lady to engage with. They probably stopped talking about plans. So this is no longer a private conversation. It's more of a open one.
It just-
Can that? How well can I hear what's going on when I'm on the phone?
Kevin, what are you about to say? Do it.
Unmute. Say it.
It looked like you were
Do
mulling.
it.
It looked like you were mulling it over. You're like,
Kevin, in Soviet Russia.
you scare ghosts.
Oh no.
Silly ass.
Wait,
So
Okay.
quick out of character question. Can the sending stone have a speakerphone?
Is it like always a
Like setting
speakerphone,
No,
or
no.
is it?
It's always loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the assumption that I always have had for sending stones and calling.
It's like a
stones,
walkie-talkie.
It's not like a
Yeah.
walkie-talkie. It's like, imagine that you're holding the stone, and the person holding the stone, like as they're speaking at their stone, it's as if they were the stone. The voice that's being heard is heard as if you were hearing it from the position where the person was standing, opposed to your stone. So like,
Okay.
yeah.
Exalted Matriarch. It sounds like they're talking about a ghost.
I wouldn't
I-
have thought
I just-
this town was old enough for one of those.
I look towards Evangeline,
I
and it's like, ma'am, your
okay.
call.
Yeah. Definitely wine. Music and dancing. Yeah. Okay. Mayor, if you could arrange that. I have to go check on this.
Of course, of course. Leave the old bot to handle the details. Yes, yes, of course.
I mean, you are
Dahabe-
very skilled at what you do. I trust you.
Ah, family matters are more pressing, my lady. Of course, of course.
Dahabe will wait until the matriarch turns to walk away.
Okay.
Okay, and then she'll go. And everybody needs to bring a date, so don't forget. And then she'll turn and leave.
Excellent.
ears-
Espen,
the
when's
ears
the last
just go,
time you left the office?
It's been a while.
Honestly, probably the last time they visited.
It's accurate. Millie wasn't too good with the penmanship, so I helped her with that. I was her date.
Aww.
that's cute.
And didn't you went alone though, right? Looks to Casey.
Well, they usually let the bots get in by themselves.
I don't think it was a mandatory thing that you had to have a date, but I like traditions.
Ooh.
No, Magpie, we've already left.
Yeah.
The door.
I have proficiency in perception, actually.
Keen hearing.
If the retinue plus Lord head over to Summer to meet with Summer, you would kind of meet outside of the Temple of Life and then kind of maneuver from there. Does anybody else, because Casey, it sounds like you're staying behind. Dahabe, it sounded like you were leaving and kind of going your own way to the tower. Is that right?
No, I'm sticking with
Sticking
the
with your
matriarch.
matriarch. Okay.
Yeah.
Mikhail, do you stay with Casey or do you head out with the matriarch? It sounds like they were investigating something that sounded strange.
Yeah, so I think I would
Spooky.
want to go with the matriarch to help her investigate. But before I leave, I would want to real quickly tell Casey about what was the guy's name, Eric of the Vale,
Mhm,
and how he wanted to form a kind of a labor party or something, or
Laborers
like a
union.
union. Yeah, like a union or something with for the and kind of tell it how he wanted to meet with you. I'd tell him how he wanted to meet with you. So if tomorrow's good, then that's good. If not, it'll be, like a 6-day away or whenever. So I would
Did
tell him all
this
that.
did this Eric of the Vale leave you with an address or another means of contacting?
Yeah, you'd be able to jot his
I know where he
information down.
lives. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know where he lives. You probably know. Actually, he would probably know him. Or they would probably know him.
No.
They wouldn't. Okay. I mean, the gnome's been around like forever.
Name's
right?
unfamiliar to me, but
So for you, Casey, it's always been the assumption that the laborers were a part of the guilds that they assisted. So this coming forward from Mikhail is kind of like oh, okay. And you kind of think about it and go, oh, okay. And also thinking about Mikhail, oh, okay. Good.
lot of good.
We love change. Anyhow, as you kind of hurriedly kind of chase back after the retinue, the lady and her guard kind of make their way to the temple. And the easiest way to get there from the mayor's office is obviously up the step and then down. Easy enough. And you would find Summer outside, who's probably kind of taken up a spot to look at the buildings from here.
Mm.
And once you kind of gather together,
I think it's best that we go to the memorial to see exactly where everything happened.
she would kind of go over the detailed
like-
story that I've given her
Yeah.
regarding the matter, I assume. And as you
Yeah.
kind of make your way to the monument, standing at the base of the monument, you cannot really see much. This is not at a higher position. The monument is about 20 feet tall. With probably about a 5 foot more distance at its apex due to the fact that it's a obelisk.
Mhm. How is the top of the wall about the same height as the obelisk or shorter?
The walls are all 20 feet. So if you were able to get up
So it's
there,
about-
yeah, you certainly could check it out from there. Looks
Can
like
we get in from over here
no,
somewhere?
the access
Oh.
points for it are the gates. So you'd need to move
Okay.
towards the gate and kind of open or go up into it. So like you'd be able to go up here.
Oh, okay, so like this little stair is
It goes
from like a
into
doorway that's like here.
Well, yeah, it goes. Well, if you look at it closely, you can see that there's kind of like a small little like path-like structure that goes inside.
Uh-huh.
And so if you're walking, then you go up the tower. And also inside of the walls, there's ways down into the towers, like kind of lower base, because they kind of do one of these deals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually where guards sleep. So they don't have
Oh, okay.
doors that go out into the streets. They have to kind of go up the stairs, head
Yeah.
to the gate, and drop out. And that's just for security purposes.
Yeah, okay.
And the towers are about 30 feet tall.
Gotcha. Okay. So we'd be able to presumably see,
Yeah, if you were on the wall, you'd
yeah.
kind of look from behind it and kind of see what you can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you go about that process, you would see that there are two buildings there. One's 1 story tall, with a 2 story kind of like tower set, and then this building here is about 2 stories tall, but it is on a higher ground than the other spaces, and so kind of stands above the rest.
Mhm.
It's on the same level as the mayor's office, which is also kind of like, well, it's actually at it's not on the same level as this mayor's office. Apologies. It's on a higher level than the mayor's office with a step that kind of goes up into it, which you can see kind of here, but you
Yeah,
wouldn't have seen that from here. You would just see that from a distance.
right.
But yeah, looks like that's the main entrance is on the other side. You don't really see anything in the windows or anything, but there are really not many windows on this building that are very visible. This building has windows that are kind of visible here and here.
Okay. So it's more than likely this building that,
Yeah.
okay. That's not much of a lead yet.
Okay. So with that, if you want to go investigate that house, you of course have the captain of the guard, with you. So he does have purview if there is reason for suspicion to enter into the space.
Mhm.
And you do have a number of guards with you, who can be beneficial in assisting with that regard. With the time being what it is, we will do that next session. And of course, Mayor, you'll be able to know that they're messing around out back if they do go about doing that. So, possible for you to investigate and join up regarding that matter. That's where we'll leave the first session. Thanks for watching those that did, and we will see you next Tuesday.